Kendrick Peak, situated in Coconino County, Arizona, is the third largest peak in the area. This peak's elevation is 10,450 feet above sea level. Alright, so we just reached the trailhead of Kendrick Peak, which is one of the tallest mountains in the area. So this right here is information and map containing some details about the trail, and all we need to do is just get up the trail, up to these pine trees, all the way to the top. So let's see how far this takes us. Some nice yellow flowers here, blossoming in the sun. These are the leftovers of some forest fires that happened last year. You can see lightning strikes and lots of leftover burnt stuff. And that over there is where we need to go, the distance at the center of your screen. That is where we need to go. Slowly gaining elevation. Slowly. And hitting the slopes of the mountain. Now we're in the middle of the pine forest, and we're starting to see some of these trees that have toppled over because of the forest fires, and there's starting to be hurdles on our trail. We'll just keep going over them and keep crossing them one by one. Just like life, it's a metaphor. We just keep going and climbing further and further up. That was the first switchback. Turn around. Now we're heading towards the direction of the sun. Upwards at a steady pace, steady incline, and we're just going. Up of the mountains in the vicinity. Take a look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Isn't that gorgeous? We're slowly gaining height. One switchback later, and the trail narrows just a little bit, but our destination becomes clear. As you can see in the top left corner of your screen, we're gaining height at a good clip, but we've still got a long ways to go. Those are the San Francisco peaks right there. That's Mount Humphrey. Today is June 21st, which is the summer solstice in the northern hemisphere. Yet, you can still find snow at the very top of the peak, which gives you a scale of how warm the Phoenix area is and how cool Mount Humphrey is with respect to Phoenix. This is an example of the many switchbacks that we have to take up the hill, going on further. Our ascent up the hill continues. You can see some trees that are down here, making some more obstacles to our path, but we're just chugging along, constantly going forward and enjoying the vistas around us. Taking a quick shade break right here and having a look at the assignment in front of us. Well, now you can see that the views are getting better and better. But not only that, the landscape's changing too. Look at all these ferns that came out of nowhere. We've got a whole bunch of these interspersed with the pine trees, and got some cute little flowers right here. And all we can do is at this point keep going forward and see what we find further up the trail. So let's keep going. We're continuing further up the trail. As you can see, the ferns are getting more and more ubiquitous, and the trail is getting greener and greener. But most importantly, you can see the target right in front of us. The destination is right over there, on top of that mountain. Continuing on along the green path with the destination in sight. That's a nice little obstacle course to cross en route to the top. So that was a switchback. You can see there are a few people on the trail, but not many. Today being hump day, which is literally the reason we're trying to get this hump. We're going up right now, and we're gaining elevation pretty fast. The headaches and nausea is starting to kick in, and the sun is getting harder and harsher and stronger. But we're still plowing forward and enjoying these gorgeous vistas. Okay, so this is the panorama view of a little area from the rest stop that we're at right now. You can see the trail that we traversed down below, came up on, came around this way, and now we're at this beautiful shaded spot. After a brief pause, we're back on our feet again in the sun towards that mission that you see at the center of your screen. These patches of shade feel wonderful in the hot sun of June 21st, the summer solstice in the northern hemisphere. But the vistas are worth it. You can check these ferns out, these beautiful ferns, and the views in the background, and the trail we came from. Another little switchback that we have to climb up, but we're still gaining height, enjoying occasional shade, and going up step by step. So we're at the top of the site peak right now, and just trying to catch a quick breather before we get back up, or continue further up rather. You can see the views on the other side of the mountain. I am really, really excited to see what the views at the top would be like. Making our progress even further up with some nice views all around. Stopping here for a quick panorama shot to the west and continuing on further to the north towards the mountain. Further up the trail and looking to the east now, where the mountains in the distance are visible. The white stuff you see in the distance is actually not a cloud. It's smoke from a forest fire in an area called Clear Creek, which is to the southeast of here. So luckily the smoke's not here, so it's not that smoky here, but it is sunny, and the altitude makes for some pretty treacherous hiking conditions. Making further progress. We're now in the valley, so no views at this time, but the trail's continuing to go up. Some more elevation gain, and thankfully some shade for now, and lots of pine cones on the ground. And just a few minutes later, we hit this spot where it almost feels like we're in some kind of a tropical rainforest. It's so verdant and luscious. You can kind of see how it lights up the whole background and adds to the flavor of the high elevations of this mountain. But we're still nowhere near the top yet. That's the view of the surrounding, and we're still making some progress. The sun is still beating strong, but the air is starting to get a little crisp. So it sets up for a very nice balance between the biting hot sun and the cooling air, which is not surprising given that you can see snow-capped mountains not too far from here. Some more green vegetation. And uphill climbs. Now this is a nice little stretch of shade, much needed. Let's go a little further, see what it looks like. Further up, with the sunshade mix and a decent view. So right now, there is a rare instance of greenery and a flat section of the trail that we're walking on right now. I'm going to go out and show you what the view is like. Just some beautiful mountains in the distance and the trail behind us. Alright, so keep going further and keep making steady progress through the ferns, enjoying the views, and there.
I don't like it, man. When I was in college with fire, it was fucking miserable, but I was liking it. I was happy. I'll consider that a couple years. I gotta stick to this job. At least for
So we're gonna do a little bit of a shade break and then keep going on this trail. A little further up the valley, pretty much the same views, heading north, but the sun is behind us on the hill now. So we're just taking it slow and steady for now. Slow and steady. and into some more vegetation right now. Lots of greenery and views where it's possible to see them. Further up the trail, gaining even more height, even more. We're out of breath in this elevation, but we're still going ahead and savoring these beautiful views. Up further into the vegetation and on the walking trail we go. Forward, step by step. The sun, the shade, and the sun keeping to play peekaboo while we go up and up, up and up, amidst the trees and the pines. After a switchback, we're heading back to the west, northwest, and on the trail, and you can see the tower we need to get to in the distance. Stretches like these are few and far between. The trail just keeps going on, and that's the view right over there. We just crossed another hurdle, and now I'm taking a quick shade break before embarking further on the trail. The vistas are pretty good, just kind of spoiled by the lightning struck trees in the distance. One more switchback and some more climbing up the trail, which is starting to get a little more rooty. Alright, we just came up that little trail. We're at a little shaded spot right here, and as you can see, the top of the little false peak is visible, as are some trees that have been struck by lightning in the past, and some gorgeous views around us. After a quick stop over there, we are now headed up that direction, past those switchbacks, up there. Okay, so guess where we're at right now. We are on the saddle of the mountain, and that right there is a cabin. A very picturesque cabin with a scenic view, and that over there is where we need to head to. So, let's keep going. These are some big hurdles to cross, but let's see if we can cross these and top over there. Time will tell. Alright, so after some adventures past the log, we're on the mountain now, heading towards the top. There's no official trail, so to speak, but we're getting there using our vision and navigation skills. More views and more trails as we get to the top. On the last push onto the top, it's right there, right on the top. So that's the view that's the view. Okay, folks, we're at the top. This is the Ranger Lookout Tower, and this is a little seating area from where you can zoom out, pan out, and get a panoramic view of the Flagstaff area and the surrounding vicinity. You can even see the Grand Canyon in the distance. So this is a pano view of the Flagstaff area and vicinity from the top of Kendrick Peak. The view again, this time in the other direction around. Good evening, everybody. This right here is what it looks like from the top of Kendrick's Peak, the second highest peak around Flagstaff, Arizona. You can take a look and see that these pine trees are leftovers from a big firestorm a few years ago. On a clear day, it's kind of cloudy today, but on a clear day, you can actually see the Grand Canyon all the way from here. Down there, you've got the volcanic remains of some ancient volcanic lands, and you can also see that there are some pine forests and alpine lakes in the vicinity. Hello again from the top of McKendrick's Peak. This is the lighthouse, or watchtower rather, that they use to survey the land and take a look and see if there are any forest fires, aliens, or any invaders coming from any other part of the planet or extraterrestrial land. Over there in the distance, not too far from here, is the city of Flagstaff and its metro area. That is home to the Northern Arizona University campus, and right there you can see a little cinder cone with a white knob on top of it. That over there is the Lowell Observatory, which is a very, very important center of study of atmospheric sciences and astronomy for the students of NAU. And down south over there is Bill Williams Peak and other peaks in the vicinity. So take a look and enjoy the panorama views I sent you. And to top it all, today is June 21st, which is the longest day in the Northern Hemisphere. It is 5:20 right now. Yes, it is cold, even though it's June 21st.
Right. Go.
Okay, we're on the way back down. As you can see, we're looking eastwards right now, and that is Flagstaff. That is the San Francisco Peaks, and Mount Humphreys can be seen with some snow on top of it. Even though today is the longest day in the Northern Hemisphere, it is June 21st. So look, there is snow, and it is cold where we're at right now, but not as cold as there. But it's definitely a refreshing change from what we're seeing in Phoenix, Arizona. Okay, so we're starting to head back down, and the winds are starting to pick up a little bit, but the views are absolutely fabulous, as you can see. Bye-bye, trail. We're going. Okay, we're continuing our path downwards, and we'll take one last look at the views to the north, the views to the east, and the views to the south as we make further progress down the trail.
Tail the fuck is easy,
Right.
the thick muscle.
Yep.
I would rather find a bear than find. I was putting stuff on my story.
Right. Well, I'm making my video right now and going down the trail, taking a look at the views and watching the sun go down. Back down to the obstacle course where the trees have to be navigated around, and looking ahead of the trail. Looking back at where we came from. Alright, so now we're back to the cabin. It didn't take us even 1/3 of the time that it took for us to get up there from here, but we made it in good time. And now, as you can see, we're in the meadows and heading back down. Okay, going downhill is much harder in the knees, but it is faster. And as you can tell, we've made some progress over the last few minutes. We're already down the saddle and losing elevation down the same way we came from. The views going down are just as nice, if not better, with the angle of the setting sun. So we're making fast progress and still enjoying the gorgeous views that this trail has to offer. You can see we're going down this switchback at a decent clip, and even though it looks pretty bright on the screen, the sun's way at an angle behind me, so it doesn't bite anymore and gives us some good photo ops. Yes, and the views are even better, as you can see. Continuing downwards and gaining traction, losing height, and watching the sunlight. More steps, more progress, and more distance covered, and more elevation lost, and warmer air coming back, but that means more oxygen and faster speed down. You see? Okay, back to the vegetated patches. No more of those barren stretches. And as we go further along, we can still see that we're losing height. Back to some shaded and well-vegetated portions of the trail with some hurdles and some more greenery, but still some very scenic views, as you can see through the trees. The sun's going down and the light accentuates the scenery even further. Some more switchbacks that we need to go down the same way we came up. So the trail zigzags and goes on and on and on. Okay, back to the vegetated portion of the trail. And the air is distinctly warmer right now. I can feel beads of sweat on my forehead. But the good news is the sun's right up there, even though it's behind the mountain. And we're taking it step by step and still savoring what little remains of the... Yep. Further elevation loss and further progress down the vegetated trail with the mountains visible to the side.
You okay?
Yeah. I am just capturing this moment in time when the trail goes down and leads to this beautiful view that is unparalleled anywhere in this area except from maybe tops of the mountains like these. And that's the trail we're going down, and that is the view of the plains around. Back to the ferns. Right here, we saw a plethora of them when coming up. Now they're all being lit up by the sun. You see? And that is the view. All right, passing through the ferns, the pines, and the little trail with some dead pine trees and the continuing vistas in the distance. Further down the trail, we're now out of the verdant zone and into the pine zone again. So that's the other hiker over there, and this is the trail, and that's the angle of the sun right now. We're trying to beat the sun. Approaching another switchback, one of many that we took on the way up. You can see that even though we're going down, we still got some distance to go, and the sun's slowly starting to go down. So we're trying to race against the sun, but it's still a gorgeous hike. Gorgeous. These are the switchbacks that we're going to have to take downwards. You can see two layers of the trails down there, and you can see the trail where I came from. The view is pretty scenic, especially now with the sun going down. Back down the slopes of ferns again. Isn't it so beautiful? Especially with the sun gone down. The green colors stand out of the dirt and make for beautiful views along the trail. Now that we know the time is on our side, we're gonna stop and take a quick photographs of this awesome venue with these awesome scenic sights. It's just otherworldly, especially for those of us that live in the desert. And that's where we came down from. See the top corner of your screen? That's where we came down from. And now we're heading back that ways, straight down. And now we're going back down to the plains around the mountain. And you can see that the sun is behind the trees, but still high enough to give us some gorgeous views. There's a trail right in front of us that we're going on. Back down to the plains, almost. But you can see that the hurdles are coming back, and the trail is not so steep as it used to be, which means that the car is not too far from here. Maybe a half hour, but this is much more of a manageable walk through the woods. Okay, back to the first set of obstacles that we saw from the downed trees from the forest fires. And we're back in the woods again, in the thick of the woods. You can see that there is no daylight visible anymore, except for those rays that peek through the trees. But we're almost there. Still in the woods. Still in the woods, but decreasing elevation, and within a quarter mile from the trailhead. Beautiful scenery. And some interesting wildflowers. A few down trees over here, but otherwise relatively pristine landscape, and the sun is just behind the mountain on the horizon right now. And before we know it, we're back at the trailhead, right where we started. So, the bottom line is we beat the daylight and made it safe back to the trail head. And now it is time for some sunlight photography on the road back out. The sun setting behind these trees makes for some lovely photo ops. Thank you very much for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, and would like to see more like these, then please feel free to navigate to my page, find the subscribe button in the top right corner, and click on it. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you soon.